Hey everybody, it's Guinevere, and you might be noticing all of this. This is very intentional, and I do this. If you watch some of the older videos, then you'll see that I do animal spirits, totem spirits. What do they mean? What are they trying to tell us? And I'll do my makeup to match what I'm going to talk about as a way of honoring and respecting. If we go all the way back through time, then originally all makeup was ceremonial. All makeup had a bond with transferring consciousness to a spiritual place. Because when you change the mask of your face, you're bringing in the energy and the element. You take people out of the human element and you expand the elasticity of the mind to take in more than just the person in front of them. So as you can see, I've got the starling wings that I have painted on my face to honor the bird. And what you hear is starling song. Now, the reason why I'm bringing your wisdom of the day as starling with the beautiful starling wings on my face is because just as things were starting to heat up, right before borders were being closed, right before people were being locked down in San Francisco and other places here in the US, even currently here where I live in North Carolina, we're not in total lockdown yet, although I'm anticipating that will be soon. Instead, they have decided to tell people to gather in groups of no more than 10, and the restaurants have shut down, so that's not happening right now as we speak. So, as you can see, all precautions are being taken. The starling came to me literally right as this was beginning, and I was in a deep meditation, and I heard the starling song in the meditation, and it rang through space. It's hard to explain what that is unless you don't experience it. But I want you to imagine that inside that beautiful sound, but strong and echoing, and you can tell it's spanning through space and time. So knowing that the starling had come to deliver a message, I sat with it for a little while. So I'm going to retroactively go back to the March oracle and bring up the fact that a lot of things were in that oracle that I didn't feel comfortable speaking on. Now, the reason why I didn't feel comfortable speaking on certain things is I understand how deeply each person's sensitivity goes. So when I'm delivering a message, if I feel like it could be challenging, I try not to push those boundaries too hard. Now, Starling specifically is about group behavior. That's its energy. What it brings to you, what the message that it was about being responsible for group behavior. It is about us working with each other in a way that's loving and compatible. It's about group etiquette. It's about leading through even difficult times with grace. So Starling is a very interesting energy, but it warns of leading like a bully. It warns about pushing people around. And so when I was doing that oracle, I was mindful to speak on the shadow of death without pushing people around on it. And I was mindful about the fact that I detected there was layers of deception, but I could not tell where that was coming from. And so what we're dealing with right now in communication styles in society is it's very difficult to know when you're being told a truth. It's very difficult to know who you can trust. It's why I said we needed better leadership, stronger leadership. And if we couldn't find it, we needed to become it. And I had my own doubts about the virus and about its purpose, whether spiritually or otherwise. And so, of course, I warned about the fact that, you know, the old saying about the boy who cries wolf. If you realize that every single time we reach a really, really difficult place, in our political arena, our news tends to distract us away from where we need to focus. So I wasn't even certain how I felt about it. Yes, I knew the virus was real because the oracle stated so. The oracle made it very clear that people were in danger. But knowing that there were degrees of deception and trickery taking place, where would that be coming from? So this was me trying to motivate everybody to listen, to pay attention, to connect with each other, to be more intimate, but also to honor a system where you don't bully by saying that your way is the only way or your information is the only correct information. And I've been warning about this for years, about talking to people firsthand, about finding out how your neighbors are doing, about personalizing experiences so that you can take better care of each other instead of just waiting for the next cycle to be told what to do. So the starling is trying to teach us how to communicate in a harmonious way in groups. It's about looking deeper, being more sensitive to how that communication strikes and whether or not somebody will take something said farther than we intended them to take it. For instance, I hinted maybe we should pay attention to whether or not we're being manipulated, and maybe we still are being manipulated, but the answers are not presently clear. My friend earlier today did a beautiful post, and in honor of her, I am going to ring a bell. In her post, she said, "We don't really know all the facts, and I know that's true too. As a psychic, as an oracle reader, if I see something, and especially if I see something that's bounding around what isn't being said or what is being maybe implied, then I'm going to pay closer attention. I'm going to listen harder to everything I'm paying attention to, and I'm going to double check information and resources and so on. I don't just ever take anything at surface level if I'm told that there's trickery at hand." Now, based on the fact that sometimes what will take place is leadership will not try and panic you by not giving you enough information. That's why we need to pay attention to being mindful and respectful of each other in these cycles. Now, going back to the friend from earlier, this is just a wonderful thing. She was talking about how bells dispelled mischief and darker forces and energy, and she was ringing her bells, right? And I thought to honor her and the fact that she was also reaching out to community to share mindful words and remind everybody that whether you're in quarantine or whether you're still at least presently running free, to treat each person with love and respect. Here, this bell is just for her. This is a beautiful bell. I've rung it before in a previous video. This is a double dorje. It's considered the masculine element, a thunderbolt. This is the bell. It's the feminine element. Now, here's the cool thing about starlings. They represent the balance between the masculine element and the feminine element while connecting with your community, while being mindful, while making sure to share resources, to not bully, to be open-minded, and to be respectful of each person that you interact with in community. So here we go. I'm going to ring this for you, Valerie. This is specific for you. And for all you who can enjoy it, it is a very sacred bell to me. Thank you for your words, Valerie, goddess, super conversationalist vixen. I am lucky enough in my life to be surrounded by many beautiful, passionate, healing women and men. And when she shared that with me today and with her friends today, it was truly inspiring. So you will see her in a future video. I'm going to have her on and interview her. I've done it before. I'm going to do it again, and we'll get some perspectives from her. Now, for anybody who's more interested in the makeup and details, I'm going to just get up close just to entertain you. And then I'm going to read you something I found. specific to Starling that I thought was quite beautiful. I'm also going to quote the author in the article I'm about to share with you. But before I do, this is my ode to Starling. Now, in the past, when I've worked with Starling before, what they've taught me in real time and in real life is usually if they come, and I've noticed they'll come to my house in large groups, they're always coming with a message about the weather. In the past, I've been visited by a murmuration of starlings, a very large grouping where they're surrounding the house with their song and those really shrill, high-pitched conversation notes that they have, where they're all over my windows, my windowsills, really gathered in really large groups, has always been before strange weather. So whenever I see the starlings, I know strange weather's coming. A good example is the hurricane that came through, I think it was last year or a year before, and it did come through North Carolina, but it never actually struck here. I was on the phone with one of my mentors, and I mentioned that the starlings hadn't visited, so I believed that we were going to be fine. And the interesting thing was we were in a bubble for the entire hurricane. So everywhere around us was hit. And you could even see from the satellite footage above that for whatever reason, the weather was thwarted by the shape of the mountains or the bowl of the valley or however you want to imagine it. But the starlings never came. And so I knew that the weather was never coming in any kind of extremity. So what I've discovered in personal life about starlings is they're great messengers. So if you see a large murmuration, and they're all over your home for no reason at all, then that means that there's going to be a weather front that's very interesting. So it's communication. It's being mindful and kind in groups. It's about community outreach. It's about watching out for each other. It's about making sure not to bully or push each other around. It's important to be kind. It's important to gather, at least in your hearts and your spirits, in prayer if you can't in physical, which I know a lot of us can't right now. So what we're doing is we're gathering here. We're gathering in these interwebs where we can still make contact and connection with each other. And I want you to continue to call your friends and reach out to your friends and make sure that they know that you're thinking about them and that you care. Make sure you talk to the elderly, the friends that are at risk, anybody at all that you know that could possibly be not feeling well or even scared. Reach out, be kind, be real. That's important. So with that being said, I'm going to read you this beautiful article I found about the starlings. And you can hear them going crazy in the background. So I'm going to turn them down. And of course, I have to wear my glasses or I can't read you the article. So this should be a very interesting thing. Oh, look, a starling with wings on its glasses. Okay, so here we go. First you can enjoy a little bit of the starling right here. I'll put it a little bit lower in volume. Here we go. And this is the article. First off, it's written by Arminta Wallace. It was published in the Irish Times on March 17th, 2020. Now, if you're anything like me, having this article come up in the culture section under March 17th, 2020, when we're on March 18th and I found it yesterday, is amazing. And the original time that she wrote it was March 18th, 2013. So they brought the article back up recently. And I always love synchronicity when it's this beautiful. So here's your article about the starlings. Okay? Starlings are an improbable source of artistic inspiration. They hang around in the most pedestrian of places, the telegraph poles of the main street in Stillergan, Dublin, for instance, emitting a chorus of cheeky clicks and whistles on winter afternoons, and at a glance they look like just another unremarkable blackbird. Yet they have some startlingly high-profile admirers. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart kept a pet starling for 3 years. When it died, he was reportedly so distraught that he staged an elaborate funeral, complete with a poem written specially for the occasion. The starlings in my locality perform virtuoso impressions of fellow birds. 1 minute you'll hear a cascade of wren-style arpeggios. The next, a convincing oyster catcher call brings the seashore to your back door. It's easy to see why they would appeal to a musician. Then again, look more closely at this unremarkable plumage, and you'll find that as American poet Mary Oliver puts it, there are stars in their black feathers. So it is that even the most unassuming of urban starlings can take us into the shape-shifting world of artistic experience, opening what Seamus Heaney calls a door into the dark. But it is when they flock together in large groups that starlings really come into their own. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, sitting on the I think it's couch. I think maybe it's coach, like a stagecoach, or maybe a train coach. But it says coach, actually. To London in the winter of 1799. Oh, that's probably a coach, as in a stagecoach. 1799. Captured the surreal beauty of this behavior in his notebook. Starlings in vast flights drove along like smoke, mist, or anything misty without volition, some moments glimmering and shimmering, dim and shadowy, now thickening, deepening, blackening. The painter and printmaker Vincent Sheridan has spent years studying starlings and other flocking birds, observing the extraordinary patterns they paint in the sky, and capturing them on canvas and more recently in video. At the Black Church print studio in Dublin's Temple Bar, where he is a director on the board, Sheridan shows me a film he made last year on a lake near Mullingar. It begins quietly, but as the birds gather in ever larger numbers, the sky darkens and the sound of wings increases in volume until it resembles the falling of heavy rain, which is why we call it a murmuration. It's one of the greatest ballets of the world, Sheridan says. It's really incredible to feel the birds, to hear how they surround you, to watch those rolling waves. It's a tsunami of birds in the air. Watching with human eyes, it's hard to understand why there aren't any fatal crashes. They're probably doing 40 or 50 kilometers an hour, maybe more, he says. One moment it's a one-way street, the next it's two-way, and then there's chaos. It seems chaotic, but it's not. I've never seen a bird fall out of the sky. I want you to take that sentence in mind for a moment. Remember, they're about groups. They're about communicating in groups, harmonious groups, working with each other in groups. And you're hearing about this thick, fast-moving, back-forth dance they do in these murmurations without running into each other, respectfully in those groups, dancing, singing, interacting in those groups. Sheridan's interest in starlings began when he was growing up on a farm near Prosperous in County Kildare. I was drawn to a place right at the edge of the Bog of Allen. I've done other things in my art over the years, but I've come back to the starlings and to the natural world in general. Now I want to stop there as well. Lately, all the psychic messages I've been getting is come back to the natural world. Remember what you're missing. Remember the song of birds. Remember the wild animals. Remember that you're part of a cycle greater than yourself. Be the wild one. Be one with the wild. I believe the Starlings brings a great message along those lines. And then we have here the end of this article. And I'm going to share with you, I've been learning a little bit of Irish, so I'm going to share with you a word that's in here that I thought was also very cool because of the magic of starlings and the beauty of the message that was carried to me on the wings of the starling. His prints are on display at Driocht in Blanchardstown for the next 6 weeks. Now, obviously that was in 2013, so if you happen to be in Driocht in Blanchardstown for the next couple of months, you're not going to see his work there, but you do have his name. And you know what? In the description, I will post the article, the name of the woman who wrote the article, and the man with the starling paintings if this is of any interest to you. So I'll connect that in the link. And I will also connect you to the bell ringing Valerie Super Conversationalist if you want to see her live that she did earlier today. And I'm quite sure she's got a page, so I'll make sure to link you there as well. And if you're still with me, please subscribe, hit the bell so that you get notifications, and give me a thumbs up. I work hard, especially when I'm putting on this crazy intricate makeup for you guys and for the ceremony of the starling. So let's go back to what he said about this his artwork being in town for 3 weeks, which we already know is not our present 3 weeks. The Irish word in here, his prints are on display at Driocht in Blanchardstown. Driocht means magic in Irish. They got the magic. Anyway, so going back to the article, people see my work and then I'll get a call from Carrie to say, oh, there's a great bunch of starlings down here. It opens up a whole book of stories and folklore. You start to find all about people's lives. I love that. See, we're still back to community. People call him to say they're starlings. Then he gets to find out all about their lives. Starlings connect people. And of course, since it is about art, and you can see I did this beautiful mask for the starlings, you can take that as well. You should, if you like to do art or want to pursue art, this is the time to do it. This connection between them and us is what Brendan Kennelly is calling at in his great poem, A Glimpse of Starlings. It's a poem about grief, about the unremarkable rhythms of everyday life. But it ends with starlings lifting suddenly over field, road, and river. A fist of black dust pitched in the wind. Artists, one and all. So, with all that being said, I'm going to go back to our lovely starlings here. Please remember to be mindful with each other. Please remember to be kind. Please remember as you gather intellectually online and through all these other mediums to treat each other with loving kindness. Not everybody's going to agree about everything. We're in a very strange time and everybody knows this is true. This is a doorway to something new, and I want you to use this doorway quite wisely. So I'm just going to turn our beautiful starlings up for a second so you can hear them better, because we're going to end on some starlings, and then I'm going to say goodbye to you. I want you to really take a moment, because I'm going to shut up, close your eyes, and just listen to them. Maybe, and I'm hoping, that they will fly to you in your dreams, and maybe you'll be able to hear the song of the starling echoing through time and space like I did. Thank you. Stay safe. Stay open-hearted. Stay aware. Stay connected. I love you guys. Take care of each other. And like I said in that oracle for March, take care of each other like tomorrow is your last day, because no one ever has the answer to that equation. So love each other and be kind.